never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's a Monday, so hopefully everybody enjoyed their weekend. If you have seen any or all of last night's pay-per-view for the WWE, please feel free to let me know, because we will be talking about that coming up one day later on this week here on the channel. But today is going to be my NASCAR review, talking about the race from yesterday, which was called the Enjoy Illinois 300. But before I get into that, let me quickly say this is a little bit of humor for you to kick off your week. That when I was growing up, we had Johnny Cash, Steve Jobs, and Bob Hope. Now we have no Cash, no Jobs, and no Hope. So let's just hope nothing bad happens to Kevin Bacon. But on to today's NASCAR review. As I said, the race yesterday was called the Enjoy Illinois 300. And that race name can be kind of confusing, because when you hear Enjoy Illinois, you think about the state of Illinois. But the race was actually held in Missouri. But I believe Missouri and Illinois are pretty close to each other, but still makes no sense to put Illinois in the title of the sponsorship of the race when the race itself is in Missouri. Everybody calls it Gateway because it's right outside of St. Louis, and it is the gateway to the south. But the racetrack is actually called WWTR, which stands for Worldwide Technology Raceway. And that is a race that if you had never watched NASCAR before and you sat down to watch that race, you would become not just a NASCAR fan, but a racing fan in general. Phenomenal race. I personally think it should have been a little bit longer. I'm not one of these modern day NASCAR fans that thinks the races are too long. To me, every NASCAR race should be at least 400 miles. And this one was called the Enjoy Illinois 300 because it was 300 miles, 240 laps. I think they could have at least made it 350 miles. But it was a little bit more than 300 because just like last week's race at Charlotte, they had a caution with less than 5 laps to go. So they had a green, white, checkered finish. But it was a great race. Ross Chastain took out Denny Hamlin. And he also took out Chase Elliott. Now, Chase Elliott did rebound to finish 21st. But Denny Hamlin had all kinds of damage. And I believe he actually finished 34th, something like 11 laps down. Now, Ross Chastain, after the race, said that it was all his fault. He just continues making the same mistake, driving into the corners too hard. I personally don't believe that. I think he's just an aggressive race car driver. I've mentioned it on some of my prior NASCAR videos that I've done, that he's just an aggressive race car driver, but he said it's all his fault, and whatever happens, whatever Denny says to him, whatever Chase says to him, he's got it coming, and he's not going to react because he accepts responsibility for it. But I don't think it was an accident. I think it was intentional. He's just the kind of driver to where he has no patience at all. If he tries to go by you and you're in the way, he'll just put you in the wall. So I think him saying it was an accident was his way of trying to get out of more trouble. But it was funny because he almost got black flagged one time for not having the minimum speed on the racetrack because Denny Hamlin was intentionally holding him back, trying to make him mad because he took out Denny in the early stages of the race. So it made for very, very, very entertaining racing. But there was a stretch in that race where I felt like I was watching the Demolition Derby because it seemed like every 4 or 5 laps somebody was getting into somebody. But it was a great race. Joey Logano comes home with the win, his second win of the year, 29th career win. He is now the 4th different driver to win multiple races this year. Kyle Busch comes home second for the second week in a row. Kurt Busch third, Ryan Blaney fourth, and Eric Almirola comes home fifth. When they restarted for the green-white checker, Logano actually was in the lead, and it looked like Kyle Busch was expecting to get a push from his brother Kurt, and it didn't happen. But he actually got by Logano, but he drove in the corner too hard, and he got a little bit loose, and that was all Logano needed to come home with the win. But an amazing, amazing finish. 6 through 10 was Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, and AJ Allmendinger. Back on track this week. This week they will be in Sonoma for the road course in Sonoma, California, and it will be the last race of the season on Fox, and they'll be joined in the booth by Tony Stewart. Of course, he was in the booth early this year, back in February. He done a great job that time, and I expect no different this time. Looking at the points now, you can actually find the points where it's not the current points. It's the points with how many wins you have. So the top 4 right now are Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, William Byron, and Denny Hamlin, because those are the 4 drivers with more than 1 win this year. And of those 4, Ross Chastain has accrued the most amount of points. Chase Elliott is 5th. He has the most points among the drivers who only have 1 win, followed by Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Kyle's older brother Kurt rounds out the top 10. Again, any thoughts on the race? If you've seen it, please feel free to let me know. If you have not seen it and you think you're not a NASCAR fan, you watch that race, and if you don't become one, there's just no hope for you when it comes to NASCAR. That race reminded me of racing back 25 years ago. It was beating and banging pretty much from the green flag to the checkered flag, which is the way racing should be. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Why don't eggs tell jokes? They'd crack each other up. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.